Hi, I'm Shelby Lewis. I'm a senior here at Elon, and I'm here to speak about Numen Lumen and the company we keep. I'd like to speak to you today about the work of Howard Thurman. He was a famous theologian, minister, and civil rights activist in the mid-20th century whose work inspired the greats such as Reverend C.T. Vivian and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This particular work, Jesus and the Disinherited, spoke to me for a number of reasons. As a Christian, it reminded me of the importance of today's theme, the company we keep and the hospitality within it. It's early, sorry. I think this theme of hospitality and community can be applied across traditions. And to those with no tradition, I know that Christianity does not have an exclusive hold on hospitality. That's kind of against the point of hospitality. So the company that we keep, whether religious or not, has the remarkable power to exclude or include those we see as outsiders and to either give us power or take our power away. Today's social climate is bombarded with some of the most divisive words in history. All you have to do is turn on the news, and there's something going on somewhere. There's hate crimes, microaggressions, acts of bias, pretty much negative stuff going on everywhere, whether it's in Ferguson or Chicago, Paris or Beirut, Greensboro, Raleigh, or Chapel Hill. There's something going down pretty much every day. And whether these acts of bias or hate crimes leave the victims dead or wounded on the inside, the pain that reverberates can't be understated. So let's come back to Howard Thurman, putting that somber note on the back burner just for a second. In his first chapter, he describes Jesus as the paradigmatic disinherited person, a person who does not have privilege, a person who is, in all respects, an outsider. He was Jewish, he was poor, and he lived under the iron fist of Roman rule. In short, he was a revolutionary who embodied God's love by and for the marginalized. And on Jesus, Thurman writes, "Here is one who was so conditioned and so organized within himself that he became a perfect instrument for the embodiment of a set of ideals of such dramatic potency that they were capable of changing the calendar, rechanneling the thought of the world, and placing a new sense of the rhythm of life in a weary, nerve-snapped civilization." Now, as college students, we know a lot about snapped nerves. And it's not just because of midterms and all the overcommitment we like to do at Elon, but also because we are inheriting a world bogged down by prejudice, by that divisive rhetoric I just talked about. And in our search for personal identity and trying to make meaning of it, there's all that we face. So I'm gonna tell you guys something about myself. My sophomore year, 2 years ago, I came out as gay. My church community and my friends here at Elon, my family, everybody in my life was pretty accepting for the most part. And I was really lucky in that regard, but I know that there are lots of people who aren't. And despite the positive environment I'm faced with pretty much every day, there's still some stuff I gotta deal with. You know, there's the microaggressions, there's the slurs, there's the misrepresentation in the media. There are the legal hurdles, especially in terms of medical care, adoption, and employment discrimination. But then there's the fear of violence. It's enough to keep me alone home at night. It's enough to make me not want to go out, not to travel to certain parts of the world, not to be seen for what I am. And you know, that really screws up your sense of trust. But trust is an essential component of hospitality. When you invite another person into your life, whether physically, emotionally, or spiritually, you allow them to see the deepest parts of you that you try to hide from everyone else. So this is a big exercise in trust right now. So thank you guys for being cool. But my own lived experience can't suffice to speak for the pains of another. I don't know what anybody else here has been through. I don't know what it's like to speak from Howard Thurman's experience. I definitely don't know what it's like to speak for Jesus's experience. But what I do know is that hospitality, surrounding yourself with company who uplifts and affirms even the deepest, darkest parts of you, has the power to transform your surroundings. It's not enough to sit around a campfire and sing Kumbaya, like and share a video, change your profile picture, and yes, it's not enough to even say even the most well-intentioned prayer. But what is required is a mutual relationship based on trust, to love your neighbor as yourself. Now, this golden rule, loving your neighbor as yourself, can be found in some variation in virtually every religious text, tradition, or moral code. And on this topic, Thurman writes, once the neighbor is defined, then one's moral obligation is clear. Every man is potentially another man's neighbor. Neighborliness is non-spatial. It is qualitative. A man must love his neighbor directly, clearly, and permitting no barriers in between. So the company we keep empowers us to succeed as a part of a community and as an individual. Communities empower us to be our best selves and to pay hospitality forward. So how do we embody the ideals of hospitality and inclusion and become an embodiment of the change we wish to see? How do we restore the rhythm of life into the world? You know, I wish I had an answer. I really do. But it looks like I left you guys with more questions than answers. But I'd like to close with a spoken word piece that I wrote a few summers ago for an interfaith summer camp. And it really captures the theme of hospitality and company. And this is, I guess, the closest thing I have to an answer. So this is called Change. April 4th, 1968, Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., rest in peace. Some credit the bullet that ended his life with ending the struggle, the end of the fight for human rights, the fight with neither fist nor fire, the fight that was fought with love. But no, this is not the end, nor is it the beginning. This bullet rang out, the millisecond sorrow song of a world so jaded, calling each and every one of us to live up to Dr. King's dream. That one day it can become a reality, an age of peaceful rationality. I have a dream of Dr. King's community. Yes, I am dreaming, but I'm also wide awake. I see and hear and feel the world we are inheriting, the world of which one day we will be in charge. I'm wide awake, but fighting the fatigue of my ignorance day by day, forcing my eyes open. But one thing I see is we can no longer retaliate to those who intimidate. We cannot reciprocate irate with violence. We cannot stipulate that shedding blood will stop the shedding of tears. Like Gandhi said, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. We need a vision. Something we can see reflected in our eyes, replacing our cries and society's lies that we are powerless. And what is this we wish to see? It's change. It's a verb. To make or become different. To replace. To become new. It's also a noun. An alteration or modification. The act of becoming different. A new or refreshingly different experience. Refresh. Breathe in, breathe out. Center your mind, center your heart. Center all that you are and simply be the change you wish to see. Now this change, it must start with understanding the heart of another person, not to see the devil in their eyes, not their insecure disguise, not their lies. We have to realize we're looking at another human being. Now, once we see their heart and mind, we find all the possibilities that lie within their single soul, their two eyes, an illuminating mirror into the essence of their being, and dare I say, in seeking theirs, we find our own. Every pair of eyes sees the world differently, and sometimes we cannot see the same, but we constantly try to force our vision into other eyes, like forcing prescription contacts into 20/20 vision, perfectly capable of seeing on its own, but instead distorted by lenses of bigotry that make you dizzy with dissonance, ill-fitting, ill-conceived superiority that cannot suffice. There's something different that each of us can see. It's okay to disagree, because dissonance quenches curiosity, inspires generosity, inspires the change we wish to see. And it starts when we refresh. Breathe in, breathe out. Center your mind, center your heart. Center all that you are, and simply be the change you wish to see. And those gone before us, rest in peace. Thank you. I'll get my stuff.